So it is May, which means that the garden centers here in northern New Jersey are absolutely bursting with color, which is so exciting. But a lot of times what you tend to find are things like lavender, salvia, echinacea, catmint, and those plants are fantastic for your garden. But I already have those plants and I have a lot of different varieties of them. So this year I wanted to try and incorporate some things that I haven't had any experience with, but they all serve a little bit of a different purpose. So let me show you what they are and how I'm going to be using them. So the first thing I have is this Phlox. Now this is a little bit different than your regular Phlox. This is a native cultivar and it's called Blue Moon, and the smell is absolutely intoxicating. To me it smells very similar to something like a lilac. I've actually never seen a Phlox smell so good before. These are more of a woodland type Phlox. They supposedly don't get any powdery mildew, which I know a lot of Phlox tend to be susceptible to. Now, these grow in both sun and part shade, so I'm going to be planting them right along the border of right by my front door because of that smell. I also wanted to add a little bit more color into this garden bed, and I think that this light purple is going to be really, really pretty against the Japanese maple and some of the other evergreen ground covers that I've got going on. So this is going to be going in the front garden bed, and I'll tell you more about these plants as I'm planting them as well. Now the other thing that I have going in are these Geum. Now I have them in two different colors. I have a rose color and I have a yellow color. The yellow color has already kind of passed its bloom time only because it's been sitting in its can for a little bit too long. I did purchase them to use for a different project. I used a bunch of them and then I had 2 left over. So I'm going to go ahead and put that into my own garden bed. I have 5 of these rose colored Geum, and they are just so elegant and pretty in terms of how they blow in the breeze. They are perennial from zones 5 to 9. I'm in zone 6B, 7A, so that should be perfectly fine for me. They tend to grow in more of a mounded nature, so they're going to be great for the front of the garden bed. Now the last thing that I have going in the ground today is this Westcountry Rachel de Thame Lupine. Now lupine are also hardy in zones 5 to 9, but they're a little bit more finicky. So for me, this is going to be a little bit more riskier.
Lupines are not an easy plant to grow here in New Jersey, and let me explain why. They're a cool season plant, so they love the spring. They love mild temperatures and longer nights. But the moment our summer heat settles in, and in northern New Jersey, that humidity hits really hard, lupines start to struggle. They don't like wet air sitting around their foliage. They don't like baking in the sun, and most of the time they behave like an annual here rather than a perennial like they're supposed to be. I've tried growing them from seed before and they just didn't make it. So this time I'm going to do things a little bit differently. I found a spot on the east side of my house where it gets good morning light, enough sun to set its blooms, but then the house shades it right after 1 o'clock in the afternoon. The afternoon shade is not a compromise. This is the entire strategy, because protecting the plant from the peak summer heat is the closest thing that I can give it to the cool conditions that it wants. The second thing that I'm thinking about is space. So lupines really need air circulation around them. They are very prone to powdery mildew, especially in a climate like ours where the humidity is high, and crowding them just makes things worse. So this is going in with room to breathe on all sides. And then the last thing is the soil. Lupines actually prefer lean, infertile soil. They don't want to be pampered. They don't want that really rich, heavily amended bed. And that brings me to biotone, which I use for almost everything that I plant, but not this time. So lupines are actually legumes. They fix their own nitrogen right through their root system, and they pull it from the air and convert it into what they need. It's one of the most remarkable things a plant can actually do. But the moment that you add a nitrogen-heavy fertilizer at planting, this plant stops doing all that work itself, and you interrupt that entire process. So what you get instead is just a lot of lush, leafy growth and far fewer blooms. So you're actually working against the plant instead of helping it. So for this one, just good drainage, and then I'm stepping back and letting it do what it was designed to do. I don't know if this is going to be a success story, but I'm giving it the best possible conditions that I know how to give it. And then I'm going to let you know how it goes later in the season. This is Phlox Divaricata, specifically the cultivar Blue Moon. And if you have a spot in your garden under a tree, like a dry, shady corner that you've been staring at for years wondering what to do with, I want you to pay attention to this one, because this is a woodland phlox. The color alone stopped me in my tracks at the garden center. That violet blue is not something that you see very often, and it's fragrant, a sweet and light, nothing heavy or overpowering, just a nice bonus when you walk by. So this phlox is native to Eastern North America, which means that it should be fairly easy to establish. It already knows our winters and our summers, and the pollinators know it too. The butterflies, the hummingbirds, they all love it. And once the blooms finish, the foliage stays tidy and green all season long. It earns its place every single month in the ground. This one is getting biotone at planting and some good moisture at establishment, and then it's just going to take care of itself. Who doesn't want more plants like that? So this last one is Geum Tempo Rose, and Geums have a reputation for being a little finicky in hot summers. But the Tempo series was bred specifically for a longer bloom time and better heat tolerance than a traditional Geum. So this one felt like it was right to try. The flowers on this one are a warm rosy pink, semi-double, almost like a small rose but lighter and airier. They sit up on these long wiry stems and they move in the breeze. It adds a real movement to the border, which I absolutely love. You're looking at blooms from late spring into early summer, so May and June, and possibly into July if the weather is mild. If it gets too hot, the foliage will die back, so don't think that you killed it. You didn't. But what you do need to do is plan for that gap, so pair it with something that fills in through August. It wants well-drained soil, it does not like wet feet. Full sun to part shade, and make sure to add biotone at planting, and also provide consistent moisture while it establishes. It's the kind of plant that will reward a little attention up front.
All right, so let me know if you guys are trying anything new in your gardens this year. Also, let me know if you've tried any of the things that I planted today, especially the lupine, because I would love to hear what makes you guys successful and what I could do differently. As always, I hope you guys are having a good day, and I will see you in the garden. Bye.